We just hit 35K subs on this channel. Thank you guys so much. It's been a great journey. Took a lot of L's for about 7 years, and it's finally paid off. Just wanted to sincerely thank you guys. This video is all about my rankings for week 9. I'm probably going to keep this one short as I'm still keeping up with news, still making updates to the rankings, and the link will be in the description to go check out the updated written version of my rankings, as well as a pinned comment. You can always find it on fantasycouch.com. Okay. Are you guys ready? Couch fam, you guys ready for this? Here we go. Patrick Mahomes is freaking amazing. We got that. I've been saying Josh Allen is going to bounce back. He's going to bounce back. He's going to bounce back. And I'm going to say it one more time. This is the game here. The matchup is absolutely incredible. Seahawks are always in high-scoring games. Matter of fact, statistically, they're the highest scoring games through the first 8 weeks per game on a per game basis. There's no more, you won't find any higher scoring shootouts than the Seahawks games. This game is going to be played at home for Josh Allen. It's going to be incredible. Stephon Diggs is going to be incredible. John Brown could even be a sneaky start this week. Cole Beasley could be a start this week. It should be amazing. Seahawks run D, a lot better than their pass defense. Their pass defense is absolutely the worst. They allow the most points to wide receivers. So hopefully Josh Allen does bounce back. Now I'm going to say this clear right here. If Josh Allen doesn't have a good game, it's over. I was wrong about him. I thought he was one of the best value picks in all of fantasy. At least it did seem that way the first few weeks. Let's say the first quarter of the season, second quarter of the season, it seemed like he was about average and doing just about what he did the season before. Pretty good, but not in that top 5, top 6 category. Just wasn't there. So let's see if he deserves to be a top 3 fantasy quarterback. The very next guy I got ranked is Kyler Murray. So why wouldn't I rank Kyler Murray ahead of Josh Allen? It seems much safer, as Kyler Murray is absolutely amazing this year. Well, the reason for that is because the Dolphins allow the least amount of points in per game for the first 8 weeks. And so it's something to note. They're not often in shootouts. It's not an easy defense. Now, the Cardinals go fast-paced and all that, and I still like Kyler Murray. But we'll have to wait and see. Okay, and here we go again. Just like Josh Allen, I'm going to put Lamar Jackson ahead of Justin Herbert one last time. I know the matchup is much better for Herbert, but I think the formula for the Chargers should be to use the running back position. Maybe even finally the tight end position, specifically Hunter Henry. Not that they haven't used the tight end, but Hunter Henry has been slight disappointment this year for those that drafted him. I didn't, luckily, thankfully, gratefully. I'm going Lamar Jackson one more week. And with Lamar and Tua, I guess I do kind of know what people are thinking, but I haven't done a lot of research to know what the public perception is exactly with Lamar and Tua, but I was impressed with both. In terms of looking at the big picture, obviously, if you saw Tua, you didn't know who he was. You're like, this quarterback looks awful. He didn't throw much, and when he did, he made a lot of mistakes. It seemed very sloppy. That was against the Rams in his first time seeing action. Lamar Jackson didn't look like a good passer against the Steelers. But keep in mind, that's the best defense in the league, man. And he still put up decent numbers, around 17 fantasy points for my fantasy leagues. I don't know how many he put up in yours, maybe 15, maybe some different. That's okay for going up against the Steelers. Still got some rush yards. Just one less mistake, one more conversion, one less drop pass, something like that, and Lamar Jackson would get a huge boost. Now, that is the if'a, woulda, coulda, shoulda game, and that's the game, a dangerous game that we don't play here on Couch. But still, I'm just saying there is hope, okay, with Lamar Jackson. The rest of his schedule is looking a lot better than it was last week because he was going up against the Steelers. He's got a couple good matchups. I believe the Titans and Cowboys still left in the regular fantasy football season. And then the playoffs, there's really nothing better. In the playoffs, he's facing the Browns, I think maybe the Bengals. Just an amazing stretch from week 14 to 16. Also, I think he's facing the Bengals week 17, actually, for those that play. I think about 5% of you out there, maybe a little bit less, actually do play week 17. So that's even a good matchup, an added bonus on top of the bonus. And so don't worry about Lamar Jackson. Still start him. I just think this should be a game that's more on the ground here, a little bit slower paced. Not to take anything away from Justin Herbert, but this is my final week. After this, I'll stop being stubborn and I'll downgrade Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson if I'm wrong yet again. Still, I got Herbert ranked number 6 QB. I still really like him, but I'm going with these 5 guys over Herbert this week. Okay. Sloppy game this Thursday. I don't know what's going to happen. Aaron Rodgers is a really good quarterback. I've still got him at number 8. That's really not that bad. I think that's a good spot to have him, and I think that's showing him a good amount of respect. Let's see. Cam Newton. Yeah, he's a guy that I had ranked higher, but I think his floor is so low because he has nobody to throw to. They're going to be using James White a lot as a wide receiver that I ranked him here. And, oh yeah, one last guy I really want to talk about. This game here is going to be a very interesting game. I'm looking forward to it quite a bit because if you're looking at real life football, this is probably not a game that you're excited about. What do people like to see, right? Shootouts and close games, right? A battle it out, who scores the clutch touchdown at the end, a 2-minute drive. We're not going to see any of that here. We might see Duck Hodges in this one. We might see Mason Rudolph in this one. We might see all 3 quarterbacks in this one. We might see the 5th string quarterback for the Cowboys in this one. It's going to be crazy. And the Steelers D is going to dominate early. And I'm just trying to find out scenarios because I could be right. I could be wrong. There's always a percentage chance this happens. Let me put my hands here. This happens over here. Okay. And there's a percentage chance that this happens over here. So there's always a spectrum. There's always chances that this can happen, extreme chances and whatnot. But I tried to play out. So essentially I ran 1,000 simulations in my head. I tried the poor man's version of that. And I haven't found one out of the 1,000 simulations where the Steelers defense just doesn't dominate early and often. When your backup quarterback sucks, Andy Dalton, like he's not even playing, you're down to your 4th and 5th string quarterback on a team that's spiraling downhill. And you're going up against the best defense, a ferocious defense, a defense that seemed a little bit, angry and flustered, and they still beat the Ravens last week, a good team. Going up against this should be a piece of cake. I truly think this is like an NFL team going against the college team here. I mean, this is what it's looking like. I think this is going to be the best case scenario of that happen. I think the last time something like this happened was the Jaguars faced the Broncos, maybe around 2013-ish, when it was the biggest spread, like 28.5 point spread. And the Jaguars covered it. I think they got a pick 6 at the end to cover it. They lost by only like 3 touchdowns or something like that. Something crazy. This is that type of game. And the Steelers offense is going to do well. They're going to score touchdowns. But I just have to cap their ceiling so much to such an extreme that I really don't think they're going to need to run any pass plays in the second half. Anyway, that's my theory. Big Ben, he'll throw a touchdown or two in the first half. He'll be good. He'll put up his usual numbers, 12 to 18 fantasy points, maybe around 12 to 17 fantasy points. So he'll be good. But there's so many quarterbacks out here. Big Ben, to me, is a really good, safe QB2. I wouldn't want to start him unless you're desperate for a quarterback this week. You got your QBs on bye or something like that. Okay. For running backs, Christian McCaffrey looks to be on track to play and ball out. And as of now, unless there's any setbacks or anything crazy, I'm going to have him as my RB1 going up against the Chiefs. The Mike Davis romance session, the Mike Davis era, Mike Davis season has actually been kind of ended like over 2 weeks ago. Maybe some haven't noticed. But now it's official, it's I think it's done. I think they're like, all right, you did your thing. It's time for the C-Mac to do his thing. And I got him number 1. Dalvin Cook. I don't have a good feeling that he'll be able to replicate it, but he's a great talent. They're going to use him, and he's going up against a great matchup. It's just going to be tough to... you got to put him in the top 4 regardless, so even if I moved him down a couple spots, I'm going to have him here. And we do full PPR, so I'm going to give him the edge over a guy like Henry. Henry, I still do love, though. With Alvin Kamara, we're seeing a slight decline with him, and a lot of players like Emmanuel Sanders and Mike Thomas are nearing to come back. We just have to keep tabs on that. We'll see if Mike Thomas is able to play. He's going to hurt Kamara's value and production quite a bit. And now, don't keep in mind, as I say that, he's still going to be a super stud. Like, he's still going to be super elite. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, oh, now, I'm saying Alvin Kamara is like a RB2. Not at all. He's still elite. He's still, top 4, top 5 running back every week, regardless, and probably going to be better a lot of weeks. So that's how good Alvin Kamara is going to be. He can run. He can catch. He's just an amazing talent on a pretty dang good team. Same thing with James Conner when we're talking about that game right there. Like, in the second half, why would they keep playing James Conner, right? He's going to do his thing. He's going to get you, 75 rush yards, a touchdown, and then I think his day's going to be over, so the ceiling is capped there. Still, giving him plenty of respect, put him in the top 7. I guess the big thing here is I got JaMycal Hasty as a top 8 guy, and that's because I totally don't believe in the Packers' run defense. They allow the most points to running backs for a reason. And no, it's not just because of that one game against Dalvin Cook. That was a statement. That was really, I think, what shows what can happen against the Packers defense. And we got a team right here, just like the Vikings, who can run the ball. A lot of people, it's funny how I think recency bias has grown so much more this season, and it's always been so extreme and so potent. But it's even more potent this year because of all the uncertainties and craziness. We're literally just going off the last game. Like, stop it. People are telling me JaMycal Hasty didn't look good. But just the past week, he looked good. It was against the Seahawks. That's a different team. Seahawks, run defense. Packers, run defense. Seahawks, makeup. Packers, Thursday night. It's totally different. It's a totally different game. It's not the same game. Tevin Coleman is ruled out. Okay? Seahawks had a lead that game. It's freaking different. It's not the same game. Jimmy Garoppolo is out. There's a lot of things that are different. There are things that will hurt JaMycal Hasty's value. Trent Richardson, George Kittle, tremendous blocking tight end. A lot of things will hurt him. But I'm telling you right now, JaMycal Hasty, projected to be the lead back for the Niners, get about 2/3 of the workload, get the carries. He's going to be good against the Packers' poop run defense. This is not going to be a blowout. Yeah, I could be totally wrong. It's not projected to be a blowout. Packers projected to win by about 3 points. Close game. Thursday night football. Anything can happen. Magic never happens Thursday nights, though, does it? We'll see. I'm interested to see how this game is going to play out. Because of all the uncertainty, it's just, it's exciting to me to see, okay, is Tyler Irving going to score? Is JaMychal Hasty going to score? Is Jerick McKinnon going to get 3 carries? I want to see that. Chase Edmonds I have slightly lower than most probably because, again, Dolphins don't allow a lot of points and touchdowns are king. Okay. I expect Aaron Jones to play. By the time you guys are watching this, maybe Thursday Night Football has been played. And again, fantasycouch.com, I will be updating these rankings throughout the week. For wide receivers, I think I really wanted to talk about the top guys. Yeah, mainly. Trent, I know I got Trent Taylor like extremely high. Let's see what he can do. Yeah, to me, well, Antonio Brown's actually a lot of people talked about. Antonio Brown, I'd say is a good wide receiver 3 or flex start. So, it's going to come down to your options, really. If you don't have good, safe options or you don't have great options, elite options, then I'm okay with you starting Antonio Brown. We see him do it on the Patriots. Had like 11 snaps and he played very well. Something like that. His first game with the Patriots. This is his first game with the Bucks. He's at least played one game with Tom Brady before. And I think he's going to be good. You know what's crazy about this Bucks offense, this Bruce Arians offense? I feel like any receiver that can run can be very successful. We've seen it with Tyler Johnson for 1 week. Amazing performance. We just saw, my God, what is his name? Mickens. It wasn't on my radar at all. We saw Mickens get a ton of targets. I think he may have led the team. Yeah, I think he led the team in targets for week 8. Pretty crazy. Scotty Miller, we seen him do it 2.5 times, right? Godwin's done it, of course. Evans catches all the touchdowns. Gronkowski, nothing the first few weeks. And then the last 3 weeks, absolute baller. Pretty much a must-start tight end is what he's looking like. So if you can run, and we've seen about 4 tight ends do it, or at least get targets, in the end zone or deep plays. So if you can run, you can do it. And Antonio Brown can run, and he can do a lot more. So that's why even though he'll have limited snaps, he might be in there for, let's say, 33% of the snaps, 40% of the snaps, something like that. And if he can get that many snaps in, or maybe even 50% of the snaps, I think he's worth starting in a 12-team league. So in a 10-team league, probably not worth starting, too risky. In a 12-team league, sure, go for it. And yeah, Trent Taylor, I do have ranked this high, but who knows what the heck's going to happen. I think he's talented, and I think he'll get some targets, but the game plan is going to be to run the ball, so I don't blame you if you're, don't want to start Trent Taylor over guys like Judy and Claypool, even Darius Slade, and so on and so forth. At the top, this is actually extremely difficult to rank. I got Allen Robinson's one of my favorite players in the entire NFL. I got him ranked super high here. It's always hard to decipher whether Lockett or Metcalf will be the man. And after just looking really deep into it and seeing Tre'Davious White might be able to contain DK Metcalf, when I say contain, just keep in mind, I mean, he'll probably still do well or has a lot of potential to do well. But Bills' defense hasn't been great. I think Lockett's going to be the guy here. Just trying to do my best to know which one's going to do well. And Russell Wilson's my QB2. Obviously, these are his 2 main targets. He doesn't throw the ball that much to the rest are like scraps. He does target other players. He targets a running back, tight end, wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4, just about every game. But they only get about 3 targets max. Okay, Let's see. Well, sometimes he targets a running back a lot, actually. Okay, let's go to tight end. I got Jordan Reed up here, barely sneaking in the top 10. Now, his floor is absolute crap, but I think he has enough ceiling for you to consider him as a low-end tight end one. Don't want to talk too much about the Thursday game because a lot of people will be watching this after that game started. I'm giving Mark Andrews, just like the Ravens offense, another chance. I think he's going to be absolute beast moving forward. Really, he has to be. He has to step up big time for this team to be successful. So hopefully he does that. But right now, yeah, I have him. Usually he would be my number 2 tight end in this type of scenario. But I got to put Darren Waller one spot ahead now. And as far as defenses, we got Steelers D, top tier for sure. There's a lot of, and then it's all uncertainty. I think a lot of people identified Washington as a good defense. Obviously, the Patriots going up against the Jets. The Giants could be a good defense. Washington does not put up any points. And so a low-scoring game where, one play, it just takes one play for the defense to absolutely ball out, get you 10 to 20 fantasy points, and that's, amazing for a defense if they can get you 10 or more fantasy points. Really, yeah, it's just totally, I don't know what's going on. I know Minshew's not going to play. I know Matthew Stafford has a chance to play. And so that's the Vikings defense. Vikings going against them. And so there's just so much uncertainty. And this week, what's the theme? Keep up with player news. Keep up with the player news on Friday. Keep up with the player news 90 minutes before kickoff to see who's inactive and if there's any reports. And on top of that, sometimes you can't really trust reports. Oh, they're thinking this guy's going to do well and play and this and that. And then, the dude's a decoy. Or, this guy's going to be limited and then he balls out. That stuff's going to happen too. Just keep that in mind. I know it's I'm not necessarily telling you who to start and who's going to do well. But I'm doing my best in any way I can to help you out by telling you, hey, keep up with the news. But also know that they lie sometimes about stuff like that. It is what it is. We've seen it before where a player is like, all right, he's good to go. Game time decision. He's going to be great. And then he's a decoy. It happens. For kickers, I'm starting Chris Boswell in just about every league. His floor is so high. When you got a floor of 5, I'm going to take it. I'm going to just take those points and not be disappointed in other kickers. I think Yanwei Koo has one of the highest upsides this week. And so if you want to swing for the fences, it's a Yanwei Koo show here. Be realistic, though. He's not a guy that you're going to be able to add. He's rostered in over 80% of leagues. So you either have him or you don't. And if you don't, you probably have a guy like Butker anyway. So yeah, that's going to do it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. Again, thank you so much for the 35,000 subscribers. It really means a lot to me, guys. Make sure you guys are subscribed to this YouTube channel. We go live after Thursday Night Football on our second YouTube channel. Subscribe to that one as well. It's called Fantasy Couch Podcast, and you're not going to want to miss what we're going to be doing on the podcast. It's a live stream, but we also rip the audio too. So make sure you subscribe to both YouTube channels. Guys, good luck this week. Let's go get that W.